I do believe you are actually the one that actually asked. I saw a video. You said, "Oh, I wonder what the judge is ordering," and because he had that Christmas
Oh yeah,
catalog,
yeah.
macadamia nuts. That's what he was ordering. And it is the judge. I don't know what you call the person, but the person that does all the typing, like that's right in front of the stand,
Yeah.
it's her child. So you
Ah,
guys were
Okay.
right.
There you
ah,
go. There you
yeah.
go.
It's funny, like these little things that you sometimes kind of pick up as you're just kind of watching, and when nothing else is going on, and you're just like, I wonder, like, what kind of picture can we paint here? So that's
Yep.
really funny that sort of turned out to be kind of true.
Oh my
was.
gosh. The fact that you remember that again is beyond me. I didn't even remember. I mean, I vaguely remember him having that catalog, and like someone sent me an email. Someone sent me like a PDF of the catalog. Like, if you want to order, you can. But, oh my goodness.
I know. Get like 100,000 people to order from this kid's catalog. Can you imagine? They're like whatever. I remember selling those things in junior high, and like when I was in junior high, it was like the number one thing that you could get if you sold a certain number of magazines or whatever was like a scooter, like a Razor scooter or something like that. And like, because I can imagine like after that they'd get like 10,000 of them.
Yeah, we could get like a Walkman or a Discman eventually, and it was like, oh yeah, but it was a struggle to get like 40 orders in because you're a kid and you don't know anybody.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And it's
terrible.
different than Girl Scout cookies. I can tell you from personal experience because I sold those too. And in junior high, those are super easy to sell. You just walk around with a bunch of cases of boxes of cookies and people want to buy them from you. So, yeah.
Nate, do you like Girl Scout cookies?
I do.
What's your favorite kind?
Thin Mint.
Yeah, of course. Yes.
That's the correct answer. That is the correct answer.
Miss me with these Samoas or samosas or whatever they're called. I don't want that nonsense. Just Thin Mints all day. Yeah. I love to put them in the freezer.
Yes, that's the best.
Or you can buy the ice cream these days with the
the
Thin Mint mixed in.
Yes, I have tried it. Quite a bit. It's good. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. Well, Alita, did I miss anything in this interview? I mean, I thought I did okay.
I think you did. I think you did great. To be honest, I wasn't able to catch all of it, but I think that you were really going through. I mean, all of the events of that night from what I saw. I just wanted to jump in just so that I could give my own accolades, really.
Well, I do want to know, Nate, if you could talk about kind of how things have progressed after the trial. I mean, it hasn't been, I mean, it wasn't that long ago. It's only been a couple weeks, but you've opened up basically an online store, which is great because you said you want to be able to do this professionally. And first step, of course, is having a place where people can engage that. Yes. But what else has changed, like around Kenosha? Not necessarily relating to you, but what's the response been in the community to this not guilty verdict?
So the courthouse and all that, it's actually really peaceful. There's been a couple protests since the trial, but nothing to the extent of how it was back in 2020. And pretty, like, even today, there's no activity. There's no boarded up buildings. I mean, that you might catch one or two, but majority of everyone took the boards down. And I think we're trying to get the community back to normal. And I do know, just not too far from here, there was the Waukesha Christmas parade tragedy. So I do know the community is tied up with that also.
Right. I saw you posted some photos on Twitter. I saw you posted some of them from that night.
Yes.
So then sorry if you guys already kind of covered this, but what's your impression from what the local community has sort of felt overall about the coverage of the trial and kind of the whole, I guess you could say, circus around it, if they do consider it some kind of a circus?
I would say the community is split 50-50. But I think the community wants to show that it wasn't the people that caused the destruction, people from Kenosha, and they want to prove that by not letting it escalate again. So I don't think people are really trying to be out on the streets voicing that. Just
That makes sense.
because of how it was the police handled the situation last year.
Right.
Did it feel when there was not trying to put yourself back into August 23rd, 4th, and 5th, right?
Yes.
Did it feel like Kenosha was being invaded by people from the outside, or did it feel like it was bubbling up from within?
No, you would hear, I did have my AirPods in, and I had the police scanner going, and you could hear that there was bus loads of people coming off the interstate. They're pulling vans over, U-Haul trucks over full of people. So it was a lot of people coming from out of the area.
So then
I actually recall seeing a couple posts, and I don't recall what group it was, that someone showed me that from down in Chicago, there was a post circulating saying that let's burn down Kenosha, Wisconsin. And so there was posts going around on Facebook like that.
Wow.
So were you watching kind of any media coverage? I mean, I know you're out in the streets, right? And you're listening to scanners, and to probably to find out where things are happening so you can go take pictures, I would guess.
Correct.
But were you watching any of the media coverage about what happened in Kenosha like after that? Because to me, it seemed like the media was trying to cover this as Kenosha was mad over Jacob Blake, therefore Kenosha rose up in protest. But from what you're telling me, it sounds like people knew that a bunch of people were being imported for this.
Yes, I do believe this. The whole situation became a big political agenda for whoever, but it's clear that the people from our community, the people that live in Kenosha, Wisconsin, are not the ones that burn down the community. We have to live here, and it only hurts us.
Right.
Right.
So that makes sense why the prosecution really wanted to try to beat that drum so hard that Kyle, crossed state lines or whatever, because they probably had at least some understanding of how the community felt about that.
How did you feel about, playing into the narrative a little bit? How did you feel about guys like Kyle that night who are out there, they're armed? Did you have any interactions with them prior to the whole shooting or anything?
I did not. I honestly did not pay much attention to the armed citizens. I believe in the right to carry, so I'm for guns. And as long as you obey the law and follow the law, I'm 100% for it. And I just felt I didn't feel like I was in any danger by anyone. No one was just walking up to people, pointing the gun at each other. People were maintaining their firearms how they should have been.
Right. That's the impression that I got too. You mentioned that the kind of post-event stuff became very political. Do you think that the media was accurately portraying what was going on? I mean, in the coverage that happened, we had a year basically of talk about this. Do you feel like it was accurate? Do you feel like it was inaccurate?
I will say I don't know how to cipher between it, but the big media companies, I felt, pushed the political agenda, and for whatever reason it was, and then it didn't help when Biden came and gave his opinion on something he had no information on.
Yeah, it's presidents have a unique ability. No, that's I agree with you 100%. Someone with that much power and that big of a podium has a real ability to throw fuel onto a fire that they really need to be more careful about how they
especially with that many people knowing who you are, you have to watch what you say.
Exactly.
And that was, I mean, that reminds me of Kyle's interview with Tucker Carlson, right? How that was pretty much all he said in response was that he was like, Mr. President, I would ask you to review the trial, review the facts before you start talking about something, because that's exactly right. You know, anyone, and we've also talked on other conversations around YouTube about, you know, the so-called blue check mafia, you know, the people that have blue checks by their names on Twitter, going and talking about the case when they clearly haven't watched it, because they're the misinformation that they're pushing
Correct.
forward is very easily rectified by simply, you know, watching even some of the footage, you know. So
I think the small journalists there and the small media that was there really played a role in the trial. And thankfully,
Absolutely.
because you could see how the big media portrayed this whole situation.
So you think that the small town coverage, or the local press, basically, were doing a better job of coverage, more accurate job of coverage than the big media? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like Corey Washington and CJTV, things like that.
Okay.
I believe the BG on the Scene and Rundown Live, I believe because they were there, they were in the crowds. We were all part of it. We weren't just had our camera on a tripod at the corner minding our own business, and then you see a headline on TV, white supremacy, and it wasn't like that.
So
Yeah.
Has this experience kind of shifted how you sort of see your role as a photographer when you're going to these kinds of events to document them? Like, has that kind of changed anything on that?
It has. I hope this never happens again.
Fair. Absolutely fair.
But it's not going to, I still want to do photography. I still want to be out capturing things that matter, and to be able to tell what I see through when I look and take a picture. I would like to be able to tell a story through that photo. And that's what I enjoy doing.